This is one of my favorite topics. It is basically the Vedic art or ritual, I think is a better word for it, for conscious conception. And the four pillars of creation that I'm talking about are actually, if you look at Sushruta Samhita, so Sushruta Samhita is divided into different sections. So the first you have the Sutrasthan. All the everything is Sutrasthan in the beginning, and after Sutrasthan, then you have the second section Nidhanasthan, and then you have the third section Sharirasthan. It's like the anatomy section, and this third section of Sushruta Samhita talks about conception and fertility and how the fetus develops, and even talks about sexual preferences of partners and everything. It's pretty amazing. All right, let's look at this. So these are the basic four Sapnaji. If you again look at the Sharirastha in Sushruta Samhita, chapter 2, verse 33. And it, for example, if you're going to make something, if you're going to cook something, you need a recipe and you need ingredients, right? Similarly, for a conscious conception, two people come together and they can be an unwanted pregnancy or wanted. That is not conscious. For conscious conception, these four samagri, samagri meaning the recipe is needed. And this is, I'm just going to try and do the Sanskrit, and I hope I don't mess it up. ध्रुवम चतुर्णाम सानिध्य अध गर्भम स्वदधि पूर्वकम ऋतु क्षेत्र अम्बुबीज जनम samagri yad ankuro yatha. So there is a very famous commentator of Sushruta Samhita. And this famous commentator called Dalahan, he is like an acharya, like an expert. And according to Dalahan, plus I'm going to give my own viewpoint that I have learned from my teachers also. So according to Sushruta Samhita, there are four things: Bija, Kshetra, Ritu, and Ambu. All right. Beej means the seed. Seed is sperm and ovum. Do you remember what the seed of a man is called in Sanskrit? What is the bija or seed of man is called? What is it called? Shukra. Yes, beautiful. And for women, it is not called Shukra for women. So the ovum or the egg, it is not called Shukra, it's called something else. It is called either called Artava, yes, or it is called Shonita. Either Artava or Shonita. Just to, and the thing is, you can call it Shukra, but it just kind of know that when we are talking about Bija, we are talking about sperm. And then we are talking about Artava or Shaunita, we are specifically talking about the ovum. And of course, Artava also means menstrual fluid. So, it's confusing. So, the sperm and ovum is the bij, the seed, and these two need to connect. And these are the basic ingredients. And the second is kshetra. Kshetra, according to Dalahan, kshetra means the uterus. Actually, more than the uterus, the fallopian tubes, everything is included in that, including the reproductive tract. There should be no growth. There should be implantation should happen easily and so on. So this is part of it. And then the ritu. Ritu, ritu means season. So ritu kal is the fertile window when a woman is in season where she's most fertile. In the West, what is the fertile window in the West when a woman is ovulating? How many days is it? Yes. But do you see this is a 12-day fertile window? Why is it 12-day fertile window? Does it make sense? Because Atma is entering. Yes. Implantation will happen during ovulation. Also, even if you take 3 or 4 days of ovulation, the first day of ovulation is going to be the best compared to the fourth day. Yeah. And the Atma has entered the sperm at that time. Does it make sense? Or the implantation may happen. So they are taking that Atma effect also into account. So it is a very good discussion to have. And then, of course, the fourth one is Ambu. Ambu is Rasadhatu, but also, this is according to Dalahan. But from my teachers, Ambu also represents the quality of bija, that nourishment that the seed has had. If, for example, if the seed is strong in a man, like a very strong seed and good nourishment. So the seed itself has been nourished nicely. So that is also part of this. All right, let's go back. So what is conception from the Western perspective? It is a mechanical, biological event. Two people come together. Now I have to tell you something interesting. I remember I was once in a somebody was making fun of this in Ayurvedic text, even in Sushuddha Samhita, in Vedic text. Before Kali Yuga, we are in the four yugas, we are in the Kali Yuga, only a man and women can make a baby, right? But in time before, two lesbians could come together and they could create a fetus. But it would not look like a regular person. It also in, different. So there was some tantra that was used. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was some tantra that was used. It would be more feminine child and some tantra may be used. And two men can come together, but this is all stuff that has happened in the lower grahas and upper grahas that is mentioned. Of course, people and even Ayurvedic Vaidyas in India make fun of it. Oh, but you don't know what was possible. You know, what was possible in the old times, ancient times. We don't know what they were doing. Even head surgery was possible. Head of Ganesha was replaced by Shiva. It's like a head surgery. Head of Daksha Prajapati was replaced with the head of a goat. So in other planets, all of these things are totally possible. And of course, in the planet just above us, well, I'm calling it a planet, but it's called Upaswarga. And this is Swarga, Upaswarga, and Gandharvas live there, what the Christians called angels. And they're hermaphrodites. They are not. They can take both male and female form. So that kind of applies to them because they can be both. Anyway, coming back to our Kali Yuga mechanical biological event, we know that every fetus starts its journey as a girl, and later on the secondary sexual characteristics develop. But anyway, being very conscious of what kind of soul or atma we want to invite. So, as Ayurvedic practitioners or as Ayurveda, counselors or coaches or whatever name we are using, when we are coaching somebody for fertility, uh, we are focusing on what is it that you would like. There is a whole ritual that has to be done. So, that moment of conception, uh, physical, mental, karmic, that is exactly what the child's prakriti is going to be. Yes. Apana Vayu is the project manager of the reproductive system. But herein, told you there were four things. So there was Ritu, Kshetra, Ambu, Bij. So this is the Kshetra, field, place where this will take place, where this is the baby everything's going to happen here. Now, interestingly, it is said, what time of conception, place of conception, mind of parents, and the sexual position will also determine along with Apanavayu. Can you imagine? For example, if a woman is uh, on the top, they might be something different. If the man, what time, for example, early morning versus afternoon, evening. So evening time, never, never, never. If you're coaching somebody, they want to invite a nice soul. The nice souls are not at night. As soon as the sun goes down, Bhutanath, who is the Lord Shiva, he goes around with he's very, very kind to Bhut. You know what Bhut is? Bhut is ghost. So he goes around giving atmas. So anyone who is copulating at nighttime, all the Bhuts are coming in. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're just people who died and they don't have a body. But if it's conscious means you're deliberately inviting someone. So during early morning time is actually the best time. Afternoon is okay time. Evening never. Second, the place of conception. So the bedroom and the nice wherever it's happening, it should be nice and clean, and there should be nice ambiance and so on. And it should be a nice so that the mind of the parents can be very, and also between the two parents, uh, the man and the woman, what was their the strength of their bija. Sometimes a man has less sperm, or the sperm count is less, or the woman, uh, or even if the sperm count is less, he might be very machismo, or the woman might be very feminine. So all of that. And then what was the if the woman is constipated, for instance, she's naturally constipated, her apana vayu is low at the time of conception, that will affect the conception. If the man is constipated, generally Vayu person, so uh, it'll be different. If it's a Pitta person and they've had diarrhea and their Apana Vayu is very, very strong, that's going to affect the conception. So there's so many within the kshetra, within this, the governing, there's so many things that are happening. And why is this important? Because Apana Vayu, the combination of Apana Vayu and diet and all of that is ensures that a successful implantation takes place. Does it make sense? And of course, imbalanced is implantation may not happen or inability to sustain pregnancy. Any questions? Let me. Any questions? Nope. Okay. So we already talked a little bit about kshetra, a little bit about bija, and ritu is season and timing. Also, you've heard of Bhishma Pitama. You know Bhishma Pitama in Mahabharata. He actually January 14th just went, it was Makar Sankranti, and he actually gave up his body on Makar Sankranti because the first 6 months of the year, it, approximately give or take a few weeks, or you can say after the winter equinox, after the winter equinox is finished, after that, the gates of the heavens, gates of upper planets open, meaning the Atmas or the souls or Pitrilok. So just, Pitrilok is uh, kind of just under us. Pitrilok is, when our relatives and all die, ancestors. So there's just like this is earth and this is Upaswarga and below is Pitrilok. So Pitris live there and they are kind of waiting. So these are good people who have done good things in their life and they've been kind of dharmic. So they're going to take another life. So they wait. And if they have been really dharmic, if they've followed dharma, then they will want to come they want to be implanted in the first 6 months. So starting from winter equinox, I'm just going to write it down here. Starting from winter equinox, after winter equinox, which is usually, what is the winter equinox? December till June 21st, which is the summer equinox, is the time that, yes, yeah, around this time approximately, for us from the Vedic calendar, it's specifically Makar Sankranti, but it does vary depending on different yugas. So I'm taking these 6 months that the gates of higher planets are open, Pitris are open, and these Atmas, these souls that are waiting to take birth, can come. From June to December, which is from summer equinox to spring equinox, the Atmas or the souls that will come are not going to be, are going to be people who have. So from the Makar Sankranti, the first 6 months are people who have done amazingly good things. They are not deciding. They are being said, okay, we are assigning you this parent, we are assigning you that parent, like that. Because these are people who are going to do their dharma. From Yes. So think about, you know, and then from summer to spring, none of it is bad. From those who are conceived within summer equinox to spring equinox are atmas, are souls that have come, that there's something that was left in their previous life they need to complete. It's like almost a karmic debt that needs to be complete. It's not a bad thing. Yeah. So there's some karmic debt that needs to be completed. And from spring to spring equinox, winter equinox, this is 100% karmic debt. Karma has to be cleared out. None of this is bad. This is not a bad or a good thing. It is, but we want to invite best time is after the winter equinox. to the first few months up till March. That's the best time. Yeah, that's the best time. Again, because where are we calling our atmas? Then the second time is time of conception. If somebody is copulating at night time, it is hard to get I mean, I'll give you an example. I don't know if they still do it. I haven't attended an Indian wedding in such a long time. I don't know if you guys also had. I know in Kritika ji, in the they all have weddings in the morning in South India, but I'm Punjabi, so in Delhi, all the weddings, the reception would start at 9 a.m. Then people would be dancing and drinking, and then people would eat the dinner and go home, and they would start the wedding ceremony 1 a.m. I'm like, you're inviting Ganapati, Shiva, you're inviting all of these devatas. They're not going to come at night time. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to invite all these devatas, you probably want to invite them in the early morning. Brahma Muhurta after like around 3, 4 a.m. is a good time. Does it make sense? So there's a time when the devatas, I think I mentioned that like after uh, in the water up till like 2 a.m. to 3, around 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. is when the devatas arrive in water and things like that. So there's a time when devatas are present. There's a time. Oh, all Punjabi weddings are like that. I'm so sorry. They're just nuts. Now, if some Punjabi person calls me for lunch and they'll invite you at 7 p.m. and the dinner or the dinner is served at 10. I'm sorry. I have my dinner at 5 p.m. So they make fun of us NRI, non-resident Indian people now in India. Anyway, coming back. So the anyway, it's kind of a joke, but the point is the timing. What time? So when you're coaching somebody about having the child, they cannot be copulating or having sex at night time, specifically during Sandhya time. You know what Sandhya means? Not Sandy. Oh my God, Sandhya. Sandhya. There are three times. Yes. No, Sandhya means when there are two times that meet. When night means day, meaning dawn, when morning means afternoon, and when, people who have mantras. Yes, it is auspicious. So let me finish it. So if you want to invite a very auspicious soul, you do a puja, a ritual in Sandhya time, and pray. After that, you copulate. Does it make sense? But if you do it without the puja, or it doesn't, I think in my Ayurveda and the Feminine book, I gave example. I had a client. She's very staunch Catholic, and they were trying for many, many, many years to have a child. I said, you need to do Putrada Ekadashi and do this thing. She said, I'll do whatever, but I will pray to Jesus. I said, that's totally okay. But you still have to do Ekadashi, even if you do Ekadashi for Jesus. So she kept this Putrada Ekadashi, which comes usually in end of December or beginning of January. And she did they did it nirjala, without water, both the husband and wife. They prayed to Jesus, and I just said in the afternoon time, that's what the time they choose. I was with them on the Zoom and everything. We did a puja and everything, and that's it. Go and now try to conceive. They actually conceived in the same day that we did the puja, and she had twins. They were trying to conceive for 5 years. I have so many stories like that. So many stories. Yeah. So the optimal conception, because this is something divine is sending, uh, because this is conscious. This is not just like this is we want blessings. We are deliberately asking for particular atma to come. Yeah. So now let's talk about Ritu. In Sanskrit, Ritu means season, right? And sometimes we use the word Ritukal for a menstrual season or menstrual time of women. And I've had you're such a good participants that you're not arguing with me, because in Ayurveda, as soon as a woman's period is finished, so she had her menstruation, yeah, she had her menstruation 5 days, and then these days, starting from here, she starts becoming fertile. And like around here, she is most fertile. So 12, uh, yeah. So, but in the Western, she's only fertile for 3 days. In Ayurveda, she's fertile for a few days more. Why? Because the Atma has entered the sperm. Does it make sense? I mean, think about this way. The sperm in a man, there are millions of sperms released, and only one of them is able to make the journey. What is so special about the uh, particular sperm that is able to make the journey? It has some divine, help. Exactly. There's a divine arrangement. Atma has already entered the sperm. Yeah. So as soon as the menstruation is done, this green, look at the green leaves. So the fertility has already started. Fertility has already started. Like, because this is the time post menstruation, kapha becomes increased. When kapha becomes increased, rasa becomes increased. When rasa becomes increased, artava becomes increased. Is it making sense? So she's getting ready. She's getting ready. And now, when you see the flower here is most receptive and at this time, but the Atma has already entered. And it's even possible they may be copulated on this time, but maybe the implantation might happen around this day. Does it make sense? This doesn't follow the what the Western says. It does not follow the Western in that sense. Because we believe that, there is a divine force that is helping. So implantation will happen when implantation happen. Also, when they are trying to do, when they calculate the time when the baby is going to be born, they calculate it from the time of implantation. They don't know when, things happened. You only know, and a woman only finds out when she does not have her periods the next time. So she had her periods and she conceived, in the next month she does not have her period. That's how she knows she has conceived, right? So it is important for a woman to be cleansed. So physically, her uterus, her yoni needs to be cleansed. Yeah, number one. So can you think of some herbs that will cleanse the uterus, cleanse the yoni, and strengthen them at the same time? If a woman, Shatavari will be the second thing. Shatavari will strengthen it, but what will cleanse it? Ajwain, cumin, turmeric, ashoka, aloe vera, Kumari Asava. Remember Kumari Asava? Kumari Asava, Ashoka, Lodra. Let me write that down. So there's Lodra, Ashoka, Ajwain, cumin, turmeric, um, Kumari, aloe. These will all be cleansing. And after that, when the cleansing has been done, Shatavari, Falagrita. We'll talk about Falagrita in a second. So they're just like when a person's Agni is low, first we do Agni Pachana, right? Do we do Agni Deepana and Amapachana before we start giving rasayanas? Yes or no? When you're trying to help somebody's constipation, do you straight away give the herb or you do Agni Deepan and Amapachana? Yes, no, maybe. Yes. Yes. Similarly, when we are trying to cleanse the uterus, so there is a meditation that'll be done. Then aloe vera juice, ashoka, lodra, all of these can be given. Ajwain ka pani, ajwain water, fenugreek seeds, depending on what her, flax seeds, whatever things can be given for that cleansing. After that, and of course, this kind of cleansing will actually also cleanse her apanavayu. Her apanavayu also needs to be normal. So we might even give her something that, like Triphala also. This happened uh, with me once. I didn't even know there was this couple who was trying to conceive. This was years ago. And this woman was quite constipated, and I gave her what is it? Just the regular Triphala. And I also asked her to do some exercises for Apanavayu. But I asked her to take Triphala 1,000 milligrams before every single meal. And then she said, not only did I do that afterwards when I did a follow up, she said she conceived. Why? Why did she conceive by taking Triphala? What happened? Why do you think that happened? Because her Apanavayu cleared. When Apanavayu is normal, implantation can happen. Yes, no? Make sense? So when we do the cleansing for the uterus, for the yoni, not only do we, for example, not only do we want to cleanse the yoni, giving Lodra and Ashoka or Kumari or whatever, but we also want to make sure her Apanavayu is Vata Anulomita, Vata Anulomana, meaning her Apanavayu is going down and it's normal. So she doesn't have diarrhea, but she's not constipated and she's regular, there's no flatulence. That's very important. And another third thing, do you think when people are trying to conceive, they get stressed? Yes or no? Especially those apps. So I just last month there's a couple we've been trying for the last 4 months with them to conceive. They finally conceived. I have clients. And one of the things I did was this client of mine had these apps and it was just driving her crazy. I had her told her, please remove all your apps. I don't want you doing this with apps. Forget the apps. But the app says, but the app says, but the app I said, no app. You either do it the Vedic way or you no apps. So we deleted the apps. The apps were driving her nuts. You know, they'll give you now you are ovulating, now is a good. This is ridiculous. You can go a few days before the window, ideal conception window. That's okay. You can even go one day after the ideal conception window from Ayurvedic. If your Apanavayu is good, if you're cleansed, if your uterus is cleansed, then everything is okay. Yeah. And the time, so in good time is either early morning, do Sandhya Vandan, meaning do your puja ritual, and then, or afternoon, just before 12 o'clock, do your Sandhya puja, and then, or ideally don't want to do it in the evening, or before the sun sets in the evening, but not after. Not after the sun sets. Absolutely not. So I think we have done this before in other class. So yoni doesn't just mean the uterus, it means the fallopian tubes, the reproductive tract, the ovaries, everything is part of that. So, and so hormones have to be balanced as well. So, if a person has fibroid, they have cysts, then there'll be a problem. So, if somebody is trying for that, and they have all these, then they might need to go to an Ayurvedic practitioner as well as go to their physician and do some therapies to help with that, the fibroids or the cyst. If the cysts are really small, the ovarian cysts, then not such a big deal. Tiny ones. But big ones, big problem. Let's talk about the beach. I wanted to, what was it? According to the text, Matratah Pitratata Atmatah Satmayo Satvat. Embryo is the combination of mother, father, Atma, suitability, nutrition, rasa, and sattva. Very, very important. I don't know where this drawing came from. Forgive me. But you get it. You get what I was trying. This is supposed to be sperm and this is supposed to be the ovum, but you know what we are talking about. It is very important the quality. Let's say if you have a, a so there is something called strength of the beach. I don't know how to explain this. It has nothing to do with like in Mexican culture or in even in Indian culture. How can I say there is a whole like a machismo macho man thing. So it's kind of hard to explain. Like if a man has less sperm count, let's say, it doesn't, or it's called that beach is weak. That is number one. And another way the beach or the seed is weak is even if there is enough sperm, but the quality of shukra is not extremely strong. So, what is shukra made up of? Think about it. What dhatu makes shukra before that? Every dhatu, rasa, rakta, mamsha, meda, majja, asti, they all have to be refined before the shukra dhatu is created. So if a person strength, it could be for any reason. Maybe there's a lot of stress at work. Maybe, people are going, okay, I had one, this was a year of 2 years ago. There was someone who was trying to conceive, and this person was going to the gym and doing, I don't know, some fitness thing, 2.5 hours, 3 times a week. And I'm like, why? Your body doesn't want to produce all of this, because you are taking away all your ojas and you're using it in your exercise. Conceive first and reduce your exercise. And this person was a little upset with me. So the strength, the ojas, if you're releasing the ojas, another way the beach can be weak is if a person is having too much sex and releasing their seed too many times, then the quality of the seed can become weak, right? And the same can go for. So here is the beej. I'm using the word beej or the seed, meaning the quality for the mother. The quality of the ovum is determined by rasa dhatu, and also her period. For a woman, what kind of she has to have a nice, good period and a good menstrual cycle and good bleeding, so all of everything can be cleansed, and then her bead, her egg, her ovum is nourished nicely. So another thing we might have to do when we are helping somebody with fertility issues, we might need to work on their menstrual cycle. Make sense? For men, usually, at least the ones that I worked with, is usually they are overworked, they're stressed out for whatever reason at work. So just working on their stress, and sometimes, like I gave you an example, I knew the guy he was just working out too much. He was not a kapha pitta person. Kapha pitta can go work out for 2.5 hours, 3 times a week, no problem. But if you're a vata, no, 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 no. And then there was another one. I had one of our students only who was trying to conceive, and she was a yoga teacher and she was a vata. And I said, you cannot be. So she was teaching 5 classes a day, every day. And I said, okay, you teach it, but you don't do it with them. Do only once. So because what is happening, you're losing the strength of your beach, especially if you're trying to conceive. So what you do Shodhana and Rasayana. Again, Lodra, Ashoka, Kumari, um, help the menstrual health. For men, you can do other herbs that increase their ojas and give them Rasayanas. Yes, give Shatavari, give Ashwagandha, and so on. Yeah. Is this making any sense or have I lost you? Sapna ji, making any sense? Okay, perfect. Okay. Good, good, good. I'm glad to hear it. So let me just read this one more um, verse. Shukra shaunit jiva samayoga tu khalu kukshi gat garbha sangya bhavati. Shukra shaunita. Shukra we know is what? The reproductive seed of a man is Shukra. Shaunita is ovum, reproductive samagri, recipe from woman. Jiva, entity, samayogo comes together. So when the Shukra and Shaunita, they come together, and the Jeev that has already entered the sperm, it's in the sperm. Who has put the Jeev in the sperm? There are many ways for the Jeev to come. Divine has put, we will leave it there. They come together, and then that Atma is now got a home. So you know how in the West they will say it looks like foam, it looks like a apple, or it looks like a banana, or whatever. They have these weird names. In Ayurveda, they have such beautiful names. Like it now looks like a lotus, the womb. It doesn't, the womb does not look like a banana, or doesn't look like a watermelon. It does not look like a sausage. They have beautiful names, upside down, or flowers, and beautiful, nice names. Anyway, this is from Sushruta, again Sharirasthana, again this is chapter 5. It means that the Prakriti, whatever was when they copulated, let's say it is a Vata man and a Pitta woman, or a Vata woman and a Pitta man, they have copulated in summer season, and they are very happy, but they're feeling a little more hot. Whatever they are feeling at the time, plus genetics, plus what they've eaten, what is the state of their what is the state of mind? What is happening in their body physically? What is happening in their mind? All of that will determine, and the season of conception. Of course, it's also the season of when the baby is born, season of conception. And also, like I told you, in the beginning, is it the first 6 months after it, from Makar Sankranti to Mesh Sankranti? Mesh Sankranti happens in April. From Makar Sankranti to Mesh Sankranti, from Mesh Sankranti to the summer equinox, from summer equinox to spring equinox, from spring equinox to winter equinox, different atmas from different lokas are coming, right? So the Prakriti, there's so many factors here that are coming in together. And then the dosha Prakriti of the child is formed. This is the last one again from Sushruta Samhita, chapter 5. Shukra Shaunitam Garbhashayastam Atma Prakriti Vikar Samurchitam Garbha iti yuchyate. I'll just read it. Embryos formed when Atma is present. It is not just mechanical and a clinical yoga or union of just bodily fluids. It begins when the soul enters first the Shukra and then the Shaunita. And then this is called Garbha Utpatti. The Garbh has formed. This is called Garbha. We're doing, and of course, as part of the Vedic rituals, there is Garbhadhan Samskara. Yeah, in India, they do Garbhadhan Sanskar for women right when they're getting married. I know Sapna ji, did this happen for you also? The Garbhadhan they did while you were getting married, which is kind of weird for a poor, uh, you know, beautiful bride. She's new and they're doing Garbhadhan Sanskars. But usually, Garbhadhan Sanskars should happen at around the 7th to the 8th month. There are rituals like in the Vaishnav culture, we have the rituals that are happening that are given in. So we do this specific puja that is done in the 3rd, 5th, and the 7th month. And at the end, there are some mantras that are done. Let me just write it down here. And at the 9th month is the Prasava mantras. I have to tell you the story of this. So my brother's wife was pregnant and she was in labor for a long time. And then he called me and he was saying, baby's not coming, she's in labor. So we opened our book. It's called Shatakriya Karadipika. And my husband, Natul Krishna, he started speaking the Prasava mantras while she's in the hospital bed and she's in labor, but nothing is happening. And we did the Prasava mantras right there while she's in the bed on the phone. And 3 hours later, the baby was born. It's quite amazing. So I also saw someone, we did somebody, I saw it with my own eyes, uh, that this person did, this very high qualified sadhu. put his hand on somebody's womb and said the Prasava mantras. And as soon as the hand went and the Prasava mantras, baby was literally born in 5 minutes. It was amazing. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. So yeah, there are amazing. So there is special invocation that are done. But like I said, I worked with somebody who was Catholic and I made her do Ekadashi, which is a total Vedic thing. And she said, I'm going to pray to Jesus. I'm like, go for it. It doesn't matter. The point is the intention is more important. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one. All right. So let's talk about the prep window. So I don't know if you're planning to offer this whole, are you trying to conceive, people who are trying to conceive or people who are looking for fertility? What happens, people who are trying to conceive, if they are going through the whole treatment and injections, it's kind of they're really stressed out. So for regular people who are not going through the other route, this is the preconception, we have to do shodhana. A person cannot be taking excessive amount of hormones as they are given when they're getting, fertility treatments in the West. We are doing the opposite of it. We are doing shodhana. When the shodhana happens, we clear the toxins from the GI tract, also from the shukras, from the yoni. We at that point the woman is going to be like, we don't even want them having sex, we want her to be completely like cleansed, and then we're going to start her on the vitality, the rasayana program. And at this time she's going to be doing some mantras and rituals and so on along with her partner. And then uh, on from an auspicious day they can start the whole conception attempt. This is a very good example. If you take a soil that is not good, but the seed is very nice. So even if the seed and the health of the woman is, very good and the sperm is very good, but there's something wrong with the uterus in the sense that maybe it just needs a break, maybe it just needs, so, even if implantation takes place, the fetus is not going to be very healthy. So Ayurveda suggests prepare the body for conception. Very important. And I honestly believe in this day and age, people don't know anything, that there is a need, for us to offer this service. You know what I mean? When we did this for both our children, the whole, conscious thing. And I remember Atul made me do, he did Nirjala Ekadashi. He didn't even drink water. I said, I'm not going to do Nirjala. Sorry. You do it. Can you imagine 24 hours no water? And then we were in Vrindavan and he took me to all the temples. So we went to every single temple in Vrindavan he had no water. I had him one, fruits and stuff like that and juices. Oh my God, he did very strictly. And then we did again for our second child also. So it was interesting. Anyway, Shodhana. So if somebody has endometriosis or they have some actual anatomical issue with the uterus, then there's something called Yoni Basti. This is not the other Basti where, like an enema. This is Yoni Basti. So herbs are put directly inside the yoni. Does it make sense? Like a douche, like a vaginal douche. Plus, they are given herbs that not only, and these are herbs that they kind of cause diarrhea, kind of almost like a purging herbs that increase apanavayu. So it's part of panchakarma also. And regular basti can also be given, especially again, whether the two types of basti, water basti or oil basti, depending on what the situation is here. So is shatavari given as rasayana or as cleansing? Rasayana. Beautiful. But even if you give it, so you would want to wait for the cleansing and apana vayu to be normal before you give Shatavari. Yes. If it is a Vata woman, you will give Shatavari in what form? Either you will boil it in milk or you will give it in Grita form, give it in ghee form. Same with Ashwagandha. Yes. Either with milk, actual cow's whole milk. So you can take Shatavari, Ashwagandha, turmeric, boil it together in milk and give it. That is one. Or Grita form, Shatavari, Grita, Ashwagandha, Grita. What if it's a Kapha woman? She needs to conceive. Shatavari is not good for Kapha. How are you going to give Shatavari to Kapha woman? Or Kapha Vata, Kapha Pitta, whatever she is. You cannot give it with milk. How are we giving Shatavari to Kapha? We will give it with along with her Ashoka. So if you're Kapha woman or somebody where we want to make or somebody who bleeds a lot or heavy bleeding, if you are going to give Shatavari as a rasayana, you either give it with honey and water or you're going to give it with Ashoka Arishtam or with any other Arishtam. So Ashoka Arishta or Kumari Arishta or Lodra Asava or Punar Navasava. Let me write that down here. Take Punar Navasava or Lodra Asava or Ashoka Arishta or Kumari Asava and take mix Shatavari with a little bit of honey, like a little paste. So the honey and then they can take the asava mixed with water on the top of that. So you still need to give it. Let's say you need to give ashwagandha to a pitta person. Ashwagandha is heating. How are you going to give ashwagandha to a pitta? Just change the form. Give it in asava form. Just don't give it or give it with milk, which is cooling. Ashwagandha with milk is cooling. Ashwagandha by itself is heating. Yeah. Or ghee. Ghee can be given with pitta. Third is Falagrita is one of the top things for increasing fertility. But remember, it has calamus in it. And calamus is banned in the US by the FDA. Do you know why it is banned? Because calamus has certain compounds which is found sometime in 1972. There are many, many varieties of calamus. And some varieties of calamus were found to have, they can cause cancer. So it is not banned for topical use, but it is banned for internal use. So I've had people who have put Falagrita in their uterus directly, or in India they take it all the time. But I'm just letting you know from Ayurvedic, Falagrita is very good. So calamus is used from, or in Sanskrit they call him vacha. You heard of vacha, right? For people with asthma and so on. That so there are many, many ingredients, but you can also find falagrita without the vacha. Nowadays, because of the tariffs, it has been hard to find, and I've been trying to make my own herbs. But before you could get all the herbs and just make it yourself. Okay. Any questions about the herbs? No. Yes. So if you have a pitta person who tends to have diarrhea and have excessive bleeding, how will this woman who's bleeding for 9 days, heavy bleeding, ever conceive? We need to stop the bleeding, don't we? And also, if Ashoka is a painkiller, also natural painkiller. Ashoka and Arjun are natural painkillers, and Ashoka is also hemostatic. It'll stop bleeding. In this case, if somebody's apanavayu is too high and they're bleeding, we want to not only stop the bleeding, but we also want to stop the apanavayu. So in that case, Ashoka would be good. Also for Kapha person, Ashoka would be good because it's astringent because their periods sometimes out with uh, mucousy substance like we talked at the Pradhara. We talked about Kapha Pradhara in the last class. Yeah, makes sense?
So that's the reason why the Ashoka will not contradict the Shatavari.
Or it'll differ for each client separately. This is specifically Ashoka will be for Kapha and Pitta person.
Kapha and Pitta. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you are not going to give Ashoka for Vata unless that person Ashoka is used for one. A, to stop bleeding. You
Yeah.
don't. B, you want to stop pain. So I have given Vata women Ashoka, but then I give it in a Grita form, Ashoka ghee. Then I'll give them Ashoka Grita. I'm not going to give them Asam. So I will give them Ashoka Gritam and I will add lots of Shatavari to it to counteract the drying effect of Ashoka further. Because you still want to, so you are not at the point where we say only Vata person can have Shatavari and Kapha cannot. Or we are not at the point where, you are like beyond this now. You're practitioners almost, right? So you are giving Ashoka to even Vata because we are not right now, we're not talking about the person, we're talking about the uterus, the yoni. For the cleansing of the yoni, or if somebody has a lot of cramping in their menstrual cycle, a lot of pain, Ashoka is a natural painkiller. So, Kritika ji, when you have, there are patients who are getting, what are the options for cramping, uterine cramping and pain in the Western medicine? You tell me. Is it only
Mostly the pain relievers, and then they give the abdominal cramping ones.
Yeah, exactly. But here it is, we have
Yeah.
Ashoka and Arjuna, combination of Ashoka and Arjuna, that will relieve the combination of Ashok, Arjun, and Kumari. That
Yeah,
will
it makes
relieve
yeah,
pain.
makes sense to me. Yeah.
So, what are we trying to do? If somebody's menstrual cycle is not okay, how is this woman going to conceive? She may not even want to conceive. I have known Pitta women or Kapha women, they're bleeding for 9 days. 10 days out of 30 days, it's a horrible way to function and live. We need to decrease that. So, and the pain, I mean, what can you do? Are they going to take painkillers for 10 days? And that we know that harms the liver. But Ashok, Arjun, aloe are not going to harm the liver. For kapha, also Lodra can be given. Lodra is a Rasayana Lodra. So they're just so amazing things. So, this is not a class on menstrual health, but yes, those can be given for whatever the issue is. For cleansing, Ashoka is also cleansing. But the way whether you give it with milk, you give it in Grita form, you give it in Asava form, or you give it in Arishta form is going to be different. You will never give Ashoka in a Asava or Arishtam form to a Vata. Never, 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 never. Always you want to give in a Grita form to counteract that drying effect. Especially if they have, different conditions. This, you already know all of this. I don't think, just balance their dosha also. So that's that. So the word for, you know, when a person loses the baby is called garbho pag paghatkara bhava, meaning that the baby is not able, the fetus cannot stay or it doesn't do well. So we want to prevent the women from stress, toxins, and improper diet. Nobody, I think, does this anymore. But more important is the exposure, like what is happening around the woman, even what television she's watching, what she's eating, who she's associating with her friends, whatever. Like it's almost like she should be surrounded by an ecosystem of love and affection, and she's the queen, and it should be all about her. Basically, just all about her. Because when it's all about her, it's all about the baby. And within that time, the seventh month, Ojas is produced in the seventh and eighth month. Though she cannot have a preemie. She cannot have a preemie. She needs to hold on. So we increase the ghee. We are literally saying eat for two at that time. All right. I just want to end. I think this might be my last slide. So in Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, Shri Bhagavan Narayan says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha कर्मण देव नेत्रेण जंतुर्देहोपपत्तये स्त्रीः प्रविष्ट उदारम पुंसोरेथ कर्णाश्रयः. That under my guidance, Bhagavan Vishnu Narayan is saying, my guidance, I am guiding the Atma, the soul, to take shelter of the seed of a man. I am directly doing it. And then that is why it is entering the woman and it is able to make a connection with the egg. If it did not have a soul, it would not be able to make a connection with the egg at all. So this is Bhagavan is saying himself. So that is kind of important. So not only do you need Shukra and Shaunita, Atma is there and then it forms the Garbha. And then they have been prepared by Shodhan Rasayana. Also spiritually, they have been prepared. They have done rituals and so on. And, this is a very conscious, and then a beautiful soul will come in their lives. And even if they did not have, like, sometimes people will have a baby and suddenly they will have a new job, new money. So if you invite a, beautiful soul, the soul will bring its own bhagya and money will come and everything will come and, healthy progeny, very important. And why? Why do we need a healthy progeny? Because when why in Vedic culture, why do we need to have progeny? Because when we die, the uh, antim samskaras can be done for us. And when we go to Pitralok and we are waiting, then our healthy progeny can do rituals for us so we can go in next life and wherever we are supposed to be. Hope that makes sense. So when you in if you were to do this, if you were going to try and do a coaching for fertility, so you do a 3-month fertility program for you, or you can even do 6 months. Nobody will give you 6 months. I've tried this. Trust me. 3 months, they come once every 3 months. And then you help make in first month you regulate their apanavayu, or second month you regulate the menstrual cycle and so on. Third month you focus on the spiritual aspect, meditation, and that's it. Or asana, and that's it. And then you can make a package and sell it like that, and help somebody like that. That's it.